Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. My name is Bernadette Desir, and I'm your host. And joining me today, I think, Jose, you've been on the podcast two times, right?
Two times, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
two times.
This is your
Mhm.
third time.
This is my
Welcome.
third time.
This is home
Thank
for you now. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
you. Great. Thank you for having me, Bernadette.
You're so welcome. So, Jose, what have you been up to since we last talked?
Well, the last time we talked, because you interviewed me, wow, more than 1 year ago.
Yeah.
The first interview I had with you, I remember, by the way, was one of the first interviews that I did after I came back from my hostage situation, that I
Wow.
got released, that I was beginning with
Mhm.
my new journey, that I decided to become a leadership coach. I
Yeah.
was in that phase. I was writing my book of my story. So I was in that path and becoming a speaker too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Second time you interview me, I was already having my career of speaking going on, going to stages, and now I'm in the path that I finalized the book, and the book it was out like 10 days ago, and
Wow.
and so now I'm really promoting the book,
Yeah.
the book of my story.
Yeah, congratulations. That's so awesome. Yeah, I think you were one of the first few guests I had, when the podcast started to take off. And
And
I
I
know
see that you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot because I
you're
always see that you're doing a lot, posting podcasts. I said, wow, this lady's unstoppable.
yeah, yeah, I'm busy. I stay busy and I love it. I see that you're busy as well too.
Well, yeah, I try to keep busy.
Yeah, yeah. So, Jose, let's say people haven't seen the first or second episode. This is their first time maybe meeting you through this episode. Can you give us a little glimpse of your story and journey for those who don't know you?
Yeah, people that doesn't know me, I was a former oil and gas executive that I did a long career in the oil and gas. I began my career in Venezuela, and because I'm Venezuelan born, and finalized my career here in the US, in Houston, where I live today. Because I was transferred to the US based company that is here in Houston. It's called Citgo Petroleum.
Mhm.
You're in Canada, but Citgo has a large set of refineries all over the US, and gas stations. By the way, there is one that is in the border with Canada in Lemont in Chicago.
Mhm.
And well, I did my career in that company, and I finalized being the CEO of that company. But in 2017, I went through a dramatic event in my life that I was called to a last minute meeting to Venezuela,
Mhm.
and I got caught in the political tensions that were going in that moment between Venezuela and the U.S. because, well, this is something that you never expect to happen to you, but it happened to me. So I flew to Venezuela with my five top executives, and during that business trip, we became hostage of the government of Venezuela. We were accused to be American spies, had committed treason, corruption, embezzlement, because they wanted to get that negotiation with the U.S. They didn't have nothing to negotiate with the U.S., and they got us as a political part of the situation.
Mhm.
And that situation for me lasted 5 years because the negotiations were really hard negotiation, and we stayed 5 years as hostage, and we came back in October 2022 through a prisoner swap. So that's, long story short, that's my story.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Also, you're a speaker, an author, a coach. Tell us more of your coaching approach. What do you teach your people, the clients that
Oh,
comes to you?
that's a great question because, as I said, when I came back, I was kind of thinking what I was gonna do with my new life,
Mm.
because I was done with my former company, and I decided to pivot my career. So
Mhm.
I did always leadership positions in the past, and during my 5 year captive, we developed also a lot of survival skills,
Mhm.
so resilience skills. And that's why I decided to become a leadership and resilience coach.
Yeah.
And I focus basically in entrepreneurs and business owners
Mhm.
that are having their own issues of in leadership and how to develop resilience. I always say that you can untap that inner force that you have inside. People don't know that they can become really great leaders, you know. So that's what I help them improve their communication skills, improve their approach with employees,
Mhm.
improve the management of the company, the workplace, you know, the environment, team buildings. So that I work basically in that area.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Those are all things that I think anybody can use and companies can use as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when you speak, what kind of crowd do you speak to, and what has been your experience speaking to people?
Well, you know, this has been like evolution because my speech, my central speech is a speech that I call From Captivity to Freedom,
Mm,
where I talk about how you can really overcome situation in life
yeah.
through your adverse situation when you decided to convert that in something meaningful and with a faith, with a hope, and the love of the people that support you. So that's my main speech. But I've been growing more the speech for the leadership area. So I have been speaking to companies, I have been speaking to foundations, I
Mhm.
have been speaking to NGOs, and now I have been beginning to speak to Christian churches because I'm connected with a Christian church and I am beginning to have some speech in Christian church. By
Mhm.
the way, I begin to do also a radio podcast in a Christian channel that
Oh,
airs every Monday. Is called my show is called Building Resilience, and it's in a Facebook channel called the HOD Radio Network. It's a Christian channel, so
mhm,
I'm doing every Monday a program there today, talking about Christian values and how you can
mhm.
build resilience in the workplace. I'm beginning to bring guests also.
Oh, wow. And that's your own channel? It's your own
It,
program?
It's my own program, yes. It's a 1 hour program every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, yes.
Oh, okay. Where can people watch or listen to it?
It's in Facebook. Look what I'm doing today.
Mhm.
I have a newsletter in LinkedIn that I publish every Sunday. And
Okay.
it's becoming, having, I
Mhm.
have like 3,000 subscribers today of
Okay.
those newsletters. And they're very good interaction with the people.
Yeah.
In that newsletter, every Sunday, I talk about building resilience.
Mm.
And I go and talk about how you can build resilience through the leadership and you know I try to be and top trending topics. Okay,
Yeah.
so I take that newsletter and that's that topic that I talk in the program the next Monday. So
Mhm.
basically, my program is like the same topic that I write in the newsletter. I talk in the radio show, and
Oh,
I'm beginning to invite people, and we're having a raw conversation about that
mhm.
topic.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to be the flow. It's been the flow. I have done so far 3 programs already.
Mhm.
I'm not like you, but I'm beginning.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah, wow. I love that you're talking about resilience. I know for sure you've had to build some type of resilience to be able to be talking to me today and to be talking to the people that you're talking to and helping. How have you had to build resilience and what kept you going and keep you building that resilience that made you who you are today based on, what you've been through?
Well, that's a very good question, and that's something that, by the way, is part of my message in my book,
Mm,
because my book, I always say, if the story is a fact, it's something that happened. You can Google it and you will find the story.
mhm,
But really, the the real intention of my book is exactly that the people can understand that you can really make things in life. You can really build your own resilience.
mhm,
People sometimes doesn't know that you have inner force, because remember, we're creature of God.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is on top, unleash that inner force that you have inside. And that is exactly what happened to us.
Mhm.
Because we by the way, this morning I did a post in LinkedIn because I did a interview with a guy that he was talking to me, asking me about how was the first year. How was our first year when I was in my captivity? And I was reminding that my first year, that was a really dark moment. We were having suicidal thoughts because we thought that we were left behind.
Yeah.
And we were even thinking to take our life off, because that is something that you can go to that, and that was what's happening to us. But at some point that we got connected back with our family, and we understood that we needed to come back to them.
Yeah.
And we needed to have force and power and strength to go back to them. There's when the resilience comes.
Yeah.
There's where the resilience comes, when you change your mindset, when you decide to shift your mindset and begin to think that even in your dark moment, begin to think more positive.
Yeah.
And begin to see the things in a more focused way. Because this is another thing, that sometimes when you're having any problem in life, you got out of focus. So you got out of focus, and then the anxiety and the depression takes place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you begin to really get focused in the situation, and then you can see the things more clear and you will begin to see things that maybe you have the solution in front of you and you don't see it. And maybe you don't have the solution at that moment, but now you can see how you can get to that solution. So that's part of the resilience. When you begin to see the things in that way, you begin to be more focused. You begin to see the things in a more positive way. That was what happened to everything I'm saying today. Are things that I discovered. I discovered it was part of my path, and that's why I decided to talk about this today. And that's something that is the final message that I have in my book.
Yeah.
When I finish my book, I have the last chapter is called The Reflections. And there I talk about this, about all the reflections that I have learned when I came back. And as I said, I'm a guy today very connected to my church. I'm a Christian guy. And I have rediscovered that there's a master plan that God has for you, that you have to try to find what is your purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you go and I'm still in the process. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I believe that now I'm in the past seeking for my purpose. And one of the purpose that I believe that I need to emphasize is talking about this, is putting my testimony out. So anybody that can hear me, the message can resonate to them, because you never know when you're going to be touching life.
Yeah.
I remember, Bernadette, something that happened to me the other day. I did when I launched the book, as I said, I launched the book like 10 days ago. So I did a LinkedIn audio room for a launching party. And I invited people that have been, by the way, I believe that I invited you. I don't know. I invited I invited a lot of people because I wanted to have in my show, in that event, all the people that have been helping me in my journey. Like you said, you were beginning your podcast. I was one of your first guests. So literally we were beginners both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the show began to be very great because it was attended by a lot of people that show up that really are close today to my heart. And I remember that that day, I told something because that show was a Monday, and the previous Saturday, I was going to have a church service in my church. There is a church service that we do with people that are elder people over 60 years, senior citizens. And there's a group that is called the Golden Heart that I'm part of that group because I'm 62 today.
Mm.
So I couldn't attend that event because my wife got bronchitis. So she was going out of the bronchitis. She was okay already, but she told me, I prefer not to go because I don't know if somebody can get sick. So we decided not to go that day. Those events, they do it the last Saturday of every month. And it goes a good crowd of senior citizens, Christian people. Then most of them are alone. People in 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, people that maybe are alone. And the gathering becomes really beautiful because now all the group is cheering each other. And there was a lady that she was always the singer, that it was like the soul of the program.
Yeah.
You know what happened to her? That in the middle of the event, she suffered a heart attack.
Wow.
And she passed.
Wow.
They took her to the ER
Mm-hmm.
and she died 1 hour after.
Wow.
And she was the soul of the group. And everybody got like in shock. And now I'm on Monday launching my virtual party. And I gave a message because really that really impacted me.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, friends, if you're going through a hard time, if you're having problems with your family, with the people that you love them, call them, take a phone and say that you love them.
Yeah.
And because I really felt that I needed to say that. I received a phone call after from a friend that he lives in Germany, and he was in the show. Wow. And he told me, Jose, I was walking my dogs when you said that. And he had broken with his fiancée a few days ago. And you know what that guy did? He picked the phone and called her. Wow. So I saved a soul that day.
Yeah.
So that this is the power of the message, that you never know when you're gonna touch a soul. You know it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so powerful. I think what you're doing, the work that you're doing, and the path that God put you on, it's on purpose, and it's for a purpose and a mission. And yeah, I think when you talk about resilience, I can so relate to it because I'm from a third world country, starvation and all the stuff that goes there. And I always tell people, you never know what it's like until you experience it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to believe that something happened, but what are people doing with their pain and the things that they've been through? And I can see that you're helping people with what you've been through, and it's impacting so many lives.
Bernardo, but there are people that and you said something really, really powerful, because people don't relate about when you go into a situation like a starvation or even running water. Well, I went through that situation in the most dramatic way that you can imagine.
Yeah.
When I tell the people that I stayed 5 years without having a shower, a real shower, that I had my first shower when I came back and we were landing in a military base here in San Antonio. That was not my first shower in 5 years, because we were having like a gallon of water, and then we were kind of washing. That was during 5 years.
Yeah.
And I survived it.
Yeah.
I'm here. So nobody dies, so you can go the most extreme situation in your life. It's a matter the way you face things in life.
Yeah.
And when I hear people today that they're going through minor things and they feel that their life are crumbled, the Gen Z people, the youth, the Gen Z people, I see in social medias people posting things that you say, are you serious? Are you? So the people need to understand that that thing bad can happen, but you can survive it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of the way you decide to face things in life.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I think too, because I think we live in a comfort culture in society. An
Yeah.
example is where I am. We had a water main break, which means there was still water, but you had to boil it to use it. It didn't do much to me because I'm used to that. I used to carry buckets of water on my head as a kid. You know, like the stories in Africa, you walk a kilometer. It's true. I'm
Yeah.
proud that it's true, right? So it didn't really move me. The stuff that people fuss about, I'm like,
Well,
my goodness.
we had a big thunderstorm like 1 month ago here in Houston.
Yeah.
It was kind of a hurricane, but it was really it was shocking because even the meteorologist didn't could predict that it was coming. It came like this, and
Mm,
he made a lot of damage, by the way.
mm-hmm.
And there was areas that stayed almost 1 week without electricity. I stayed only 1 day.
Wow. Yeah.
There was a big deal here in Venezuela. People go
Yeah.
through it every day in
Yeah.
a normal basis.
Yeah.
So I stayed only 1 day, and I opened the windows, and that's it. By the way, that day was very cool, so it was
Yeah.
kind of fresh. So, so you're so true. People living in their comfort zone. I'm not saying that you have to go to bad things in
Yeah.
life, but the people have to be more resilient, be more adapted to the change, the situation. And this is something really here in the US that is a problem too.
Mm-hmm.
People don't think about how situations are going in other countries, and you not only live in your comfort zone, you only live in your cluster. you
Yeah.
you don't you don't see what's going in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my mission today, by the way, talking about the how to put my story out, raising awareness of this, what is called the hostage diplomacy. Because what happened to me is
Mm-hmm.
something called the hostage diplomacy, that you're a regular guy, that you're in the wrong place with the wrong passport in the wrong moment, and they take it. They take you, they use you as a pawn, and they try to leverage you with a country that are having problems. So this is happening in many countries. This is happening for the British people, Belgian people, France,
Mm-hmm.
Canadians. There
Mm-hmm.
is a very famous case of some Canadian guys that were in China, that were swapped by a Chinese. I remember that case in Canada was very famous.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a regular guy, and you can get caught in a political thing that you will never imagine that can happen to you. Well, people doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I talk about this here in the US, it's jaw dropping. The people said,
Yeah.
"Is this happening?" Yeah, this is happening.
It is. Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
happening can happen to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's happening right now in Haiti. I don't know if you've
It
been
happened.
following the news. That's where
Yes.
I'm from. Yeah.
By the way, yeah, that's so true. 1 month ago, I went to an event in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and an organization called the Hostage US, that they take care of the hostage. And I met a pastor that they have some, uh, I believe there are some nurse and some pastors that are today are captive in Haiti. Yes.
Yeah. It's been happening for the past year or two, and it's really bad. Really, really bad. I interviewed uh he's a father figure to me because I've known him over 25 years. Just recently, I interviewed him and the work that he's been doing in Haiti. It's really heartbreaking for him, for me, and for so many people, whether they're from Haiti or not, to just see what's happening. And I heard that they send police from Ghana or Kenya, somewhere in Africa. They send that they bring them to Haiti. So looks like foreign help is taking control, and it is sad. That's the environment, and that's the country I grew up in. You
Yeah.
either survive, thrive, or die.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. 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 And that makes you really resilient. For example, I come from Venezuela. Venezuela has today a very big diaspora. Almost 8 million people have
Wow.
had to leave. 8 million people have had to leave the country because they were starving, or for political reasons, because they put
Wow.
everybody in jail.
Mhm.
So now, but all these people, I believe that, again, God always has a master plan, and I truly believe that in the future, in the near future, when the things change, because nothing is forever,
Yeah.
and when the things change, those people are becoming more resilient because now they had to survive, they have to learn how to survive, and they have to know how to thrive. So when these people come back, they're going to build a better country.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to build a better country.
Yeah.
That's what I really believe. People are all over the world today, and when the political situation changes there, because there are going to be some elections very soon there, and there is a high probability there's going to be a change of government there. If that happens, many of these people are going to return to the country. I'm not going to do it because I'm now.
Yeah.
I will never return. Maybe visit. I don't know, but many people will return. Those people will come with another mindset, with a different approach, and I believe they're going to be at the end. It's going to be something that is going to be for the benefit of the country.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why your story, my story, and so many other people's story has a significant meaning and impact on people's lives. Because it's one thing to be on the ground than to not be on the ground, to be watching it on TV. When you're on TV, you're watching it, you're not really exposed to it. You can turn off the TV at any time. But when you're on the ground, you're actually witnessing, that's a whole level of trauma.
Yeah, correct. That's totally true. And because now you not only talk the talk, you walk the walk. No,
Yeah.
you know how things are. Correct.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that the power of the testimony is so important. You know, I learned something that by the way, I mentioned in my book that when I was finishing my book, I was beginning to promote that it was going to be published very soon. I remember I received a message in Twitter. A guy that he DM'd me in Twitter, and I saw, who is this guy? I said, "Hey, Mr. Pereira, I love what you're doing, and I have some information that maybe will be relevant for you." So I went to the profile to that guy, and that guy Rasul is a hostage negotiator.
Wow.
And I said, well, I didn't know that guy. First time
Yeah.
and I replied to him, yeah, let's connect.
Wow.
We connected like 1 month after, because the guy was traveling around. He's a negotiator. He was in some country negotiating something. And we had a meeting. We finally connected, and we did a Zoom call.
Yeah.
The guy was in the Swiss Alps. You know, he wasn't in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah.
And we had like a 2 hours talking.
Wow.
And that guy, he revealed me a lot of information that I didn't know, because he was one of my negotiators of my release. And I didn't know, because this is a guy that works like behind the scenes. Nobody knows who he's like a James Bond guy, you know. So I told him, "Do you authorize me to mention?" And she said, "No, you cannot mention me, because you know." But I mentioned that part of the story that he told me, that 6 months when we were caught there, we were supposed to get released 6 months after.
Wow.
We stayed 5
Wow.
and it never happened, because something weird happened. The negotiations were delayed, and at the end it came 2020, and it came the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we never was released, and we stayed 5 years. And today, you know what I learned? That I needed to go to that process to have my testimony. Because if I had been released 6 months after, I would not be talking today with you. I will be in some place, another way. My story will be another story. Now I have my story. Yeah. Now I have my testimony. Yeah. For some reason, God wanted me to go all the way to the process. And that's the way God operates.
Yeah. I love that. Wow. Yeah. And I love that you said you did not know him.
I didn't know that guy. And let me tell you, I could confirm. Because he gave me a lot of information. And during my captivity, because as I said, it was a high politics, and the U.S. government was really focused in Gala's release. So they asked, because we were 6 families, we were 6 guys. So they asked every family to appoint a single point of contact. So in my family was my eldest son. And my son was living in that time in Bogota because he was providing me food from Bogota to Venezuela. So he was my focal point. And every negotiation they had to do with the US government, he was the focal point. So I went back to my son, and I could confirm several events that the guy told me were true. Because my son knew. He didn't know the outcome and how went. Now this guy put context. He gave me elements that put context. Today, that information I'm not going to reveal because he told me not to reveal it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, now I have context. So I knew one of that guys that was my behind the scene negotiators. But for me, the real message is that we were not released because that was not the time that God had put us to get released. Things don't happen when you want, is when God wants. And sometimes God has something for you that you don't know why you're going through that. And maybe you don't see it today. But when you see the picture in the future, you will say, okay, I had it to go through this event to be where I'm now today. So that's the mysterious way things happen. That's part of the master plan, that you will never know how you were going from point A to point B, all the things you had to go to get to the point B. But you're going to get it. If you're focused on that, you're going to get there. But it's going to be a process.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So how many of the copies of your book have you sold?
To tell you the truth, I haven't get to there. I'm waiting like the first to be more, but it has been, it's been working.
It's been working.
It's working, and also I'm getting more attention. By the way, I was interviewed by CNN recently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They interviewed me, and I have some that maybe it's gonna happen. I don't have yet fixed with NBC also. So I have been. So yeah, because our story has something that for me in this moment, because another thing that the moment are perfect. There's a guy that he's a hostage negotiator that he put his book out, that he was one of the former negotiator of my case. He put his book recently out. One of the mother of a former hostage put a book out. Another former hostage put a book out. So several books are coming out. Different perspective of the story, because he's a negotiator, he's a mother, he's a former hostage. But all of them come to the point that everybody's talking about raising awareness of this situation be stopped, because this is something that is really cruel. You know, that the suffering the family goes when you're in a situation like this, very cruel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Jose, what would you say to families that are currently in the process of getting their members back from captivity?
It is a process, very difficult, because when you come back, I always say this, you come back like coming in a time machine. Remember, you have been how many years separated, and when you come back, is all the time that you have missed is kind of coming in a time machine. So now you're coming back, you have to reinsert to the society, you have to reestablish your relations, because now your family has changed. For example, in my case, my wife always was dependent to me, and now I found a lady totally independent, taking her own decision, because the life had to move on. And you go to PTSD events, so you have to manage those events, the post-traumatic events, and things as simple as taking your life back is difficult. It's not an easy call. So, for example, there were some guys that were released in December. I'm connected to them, and by the way, we met in person in Washington 1 month ago, and some of them we always are in contact. I tell them, anything you want, please call me. And they call me. They call me. I give them advices. Sometimes they're going through some situation and, hey, how you manage this, or do it this way, do it that way. Because, you know, it's a process. It's a journey. It's really a journey.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Jose, is there anything else you'd like to share as we wrap up this amazing episode?
Well, as I said, my main goal today is promote my book. I'm promoting the book. My book is From Hero to Villain, my true story of the Citgo Six. Citgo Six because we were six guys, and that's the name the press put us. If anybody Google us, you will find Citgo is Citgo, Citgo Six. We became like a brand, the Citgo Six. So that's my true story, because my story is based on letters that I wrote during my captivity that I could smuggle with my wife, and I converted in my book. And my book today I'm promoting in all the major outlets, you know, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Lulu, Inger's Spark. But for more easy for the people, they go to my webpage. That is very easy. It's Jose Connect, www.Jose Connect. And then when the first thing that will appear is all the links to purchase the book. I have several the version, you know, the paperback, the hard copy, the ebook, and all the platforms. So I'm in that today in that process promoting my book, and the people tell me why the name of Hero to Villain, because in the middle of the meeting that I went to Caracas, I was finalizing the presentation like a hero, and 1 minute after I became the world of the villain, because we were accused to be American spies. So that's why I went to be a hero to become a villain, and that's the name I put to my book. That's why I'm promoting.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Where can my listeners find you? I think you just told us, joseconnect.com.
JoseConnect.com is in my webpage. You can find everything.
Everything. Yeah.
There is a landing page for my coaching. There's a landing page for my speaking. There's a landing page for my book. I also have there my YouTube channel and my newsletter that I post in LinkedIn. I'm very active in LinkedIn. And by the way, as I said, I had today my this radio show program every Monday. And so, yeah, you can find everything in my webpage.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Jose, I have one last question for you. What is the meaning of life for you?
And sharing my message, my purpose, serving God, and be connected to my family, and be happy.
Awesome. Well, Jose, thank you for coming back. Not only once, not only twice. This is your third time, and you're always welcome to come back to share anything that you'd like. Thank you for restoring hope and giving people purpose and meaning in this life.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Bernadette.
You're so welcome.